What's going on, everyone? It's Nick. Hope you guys are doing well. And today I'm going to talk about the most recent playoff games. I'm going to talk about Game 3 of the Bucks-Nets series, Game 2 of the Clippers and Jazz, which I was live for, and thank you very much for those who tuned in for that. Also, thank you so much for those who tuned in for when I was live for Game 3 of the Sixers-Hawks series. I'm going to talk about that, and also Game 3 of the Suns and Nuggets. So before we go any further, if you could please drop a like, it'd be much appreciated, and it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. It only takes 1 second to do. If you're new here, if you can please subscribe. I just reached 400 subscribers, and it'd be much appreciated if I can reach 500 by the end of the month. I don't know. That might be a little difficult to do, but if I can, that'd be much appreciated. And also, I cover basketball, baseball, and football on this channel. If you love any of those three sports, this is definitely the place for you. I've been going live for a playoff game every day. Well, unfortunately, I cannot do it for Game 3 of the Jazz-Clippers game. I have some plans. In fact, whenever it's my Sunday, I'm in Japan, by the way, for those who didn't know. For your Saturday, yeah, unfortunately, I cannot do a live on those days because I have plans. I have boot camp every Sunday morning here in Japan. And right now, that's being done virtually. And also, if you could please hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads and any of my future live streams, that'd be much appreciated. So let's get on with the topic. So first, I'm going to go over the Nets and Bucks game. Now, Kevin Durant put up 30 points, but under 40% from the field. And got to give the Bucks credit for that, for the fact that they were able to actually hold him under 40%. Although Durant in the fourth quarter, I think he was 5 for 9 with 11 points. So that was impressive. And I remember while watching that fourth quarter, I was like, PJ Tucker's doing all that he can despite the height disadvantage that he has. And he is a great defender, we know. But I felt like at a certain point, you just had to put Giannis on him because Kevin Durant is just that good. You want your star players to guard the other team's best player, right? And Giannis on the stat sheets, yes, he looked amazing. 33 points and 14 rebounds. And I did see that Chris Middleton and Giannis scored 79% of the Bucks' points. And yeah, that's saying quite a lot, right? Except with Giannis, if you actually watch the game, then you could definitely see that there were still things that he definitely needs to be better at. Like, if he had any kind of mid-range game, then yeah, no one would build a wall for him, because imagine trying that on Michael Jordan or Kobe or Kevin Durant. It doesn't work because those guys have pull-up mid-range shots in their bag. And also Giannis was 1 for 7 from 3, I think. Or was he 1 for 8? Whatever. But he was settling for threes, and we know that's not his game. And also the fact that he pretty much played right into the Nets game plan a lot by taking those jump shots that the Nets were daring him to take. And the worst part about it is the fact that Giannis has no confidence in his jump shot. It's not even just his form, it's also confidence. He needs to have some confidence in his shot. And I actually almost forgot, but thankfully editing exists. And we saw it against the Heat. How much better Giannis is when he's a screener and when he's a roller than when he's playing on ball. On a fast break, yes, he's pretty much impossible to stop when he's going full speed, but in the half-court offense, it's a mess because he just doesn't have the skill set for it. But still, the Bucks did win the game, and a Brooklyn Nets game this year where both teams score under 90 points. That's crazy, right? And hey, Drew Holiday did hit a big bucket late in the game. He did get to the basket for a clutch bucket. And then Bruce Brown later on, like I think right after that, he's not the guy you want to have the ball in his hands in that kind of situation, right? And then I also thought at the end, the Nets should have drawn up a better play for the game winner. Kevin Durant had to catch it from way deep while he was swarmed. And of course, that ended up clanking. I think, yeah, the Bucks did a good job defending that, but also the Nets could have drawn up a better play. But really, I don't know how Mike Budenholzer just can't notice this, that Brook Lopez being out there for a drop coverage center, like when you're going against Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, well, it was mostly with Kevin Durant though, but when those guys, two guys that can score from all over, like, you gotta realize that a drop coverage center is not gonna work. And I've been saying this for years too, that Giannis needs to play center. So if the Bucks could find a way to get rid of Brook Lopez, that'd be great. Because honestly, like, even though he did have those 5 blocks, still, a drop coverage center with the shooters that are in this game, it's just not gonna work. And we know he's not mobile enough to extend out to the perimeter. And on offense, yeah, he just camps out on the 3-point line. And so Brook Lopez was 1 for 7 and 1 for 5 from 3. Yeah, so much for being called Splash Mountain. But Chris Middleton, after 2 really bad first 2 games, he finally really came to play in the 3rd game. I still think that the Nets got this series. If they had James Harden healthy, it probably would be 3-0 right now. Even though we've barely seen the 3 of them play together, still, like, I just think that the Nets are just that much better than the Bucks, even while they're not the best defensive team. Now on to the Clippers and Jazz game. Yeah, complacency is coming back to bite the Clippers, and also the fact that they did not prioritize the 3rd seed, wanting to play the Mavericks instead of the Blazers and trying to avoid the Lakers. You can't be doing that. And after the first 2 games, I do think Tyronn Lue did a good job making adjustments, but the fact that he didn't prioritize his rotations before the playoffs, yeah, that was not good preparation. And in this game, limiting Rondo, fine, but not playing him at all, yeah, I don't agree with that decision. And also the fact that Terrence Mann barely played in this game, like, come on, dude. Terrence Mann's been really giving you guys a big boost off the bench and you decide not to play him much. Why? I've given Tyronn Lue his credit when I felt it was due. And I even made a whole video admitting I was wrong about him reacting to, when I first reacted to Tyronn Lue being hired by the Clippers, I thought it was a horrible hire. I do think overall he's better than Doc Rivers was with the Clippers, but by no means is he perfect. And one thing I called him out for, I'm pretty sure it was rotations. And yeah, I think that Tyronn Lue hasn't done the best job with his rotations. He has done good with adjustments though. I just do think though that the adjustments he made against the Mavericks should have been made sooner than he actually made them. And also, Paul George in this game, he does look good on the stats. I'm going to look at that real quick. 27 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. That looks nice, doesn't it? And he was 9 of 9 from the free throw line, but he was 2 of 6 from 3, and he didn't attack early enough. He started attacking more when it was a little too late. And hey, we saw the results when he started attacking, right? But really, he needs to attack early and often, not when it's too late. And Kawhi Leonard, he had to go superhuman mode just to close out Dallas, and now he's fatigued. And it's showing in these first 2 games. His stats for this series doesn't look that bad, but when you watch him play, you can just tell that he just doesn't have it in his legs now. And this is the Clippers' consequence for being complacent and for not prioritizing the 3rd seed. And if the Jazz had Mike Conley, then yeah, I think that the Clippers would have been blown out of the water in these first 2 games. And Marcus Morris Sr., now, he did have 10 rebounds in game 2. But 4 of 11 from the field, and offensively, he's just really struggled throughout these playoffs. He had 3 of those games against Dallas, he played really well on offense, but he's just been highly inconsistent, and he hasn't done well at all in this series on offense. And Reggie Jackson in game 2, he was absolutely phenomenal, but you can't have Reggie Jackson be a top 2 player on your team or even the best player on your team and expect to win this series. And also, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, don't they have this reputation of being 2 elite 2-way players? Well, they haven't played like it in this series. The fact that Donovan Mitchell has been going absolute Super Saiyan in this series. Last game now, okay, he did start to slow down in the second half. I think he only had 9 points in the second half, but still, for the whole game, he had 37 points, and in the first game of the series, he had 45. Like, they got to do a better job on Donovan Mitchell. And also, aren't the best players supposed to guard the other team's best players, right? And the fact that they're not doing that consistently, and also early on in the game, I saw that Paul George was anticipating those screens way too early and then getting lost. Now, while Donovan Mitchell did slow down in the second half, the other guys got going, and Jordan Clarkson, my man, 24 points off the bench, all of the Jazz's bench points. And the Jazz as a team, only Royce O'Neal wasn't in double figures out of their 5 starters. And Joe Ingles and Bojan Bogdanovic, I'm sorry I kept calling him Bogdan during the live streams. I guess the good part about me not having a huge audience is the fact that no one called me out on it. But okay, Joe Ingles, 19 points. Bojan Bogdanovic, 16 points. And Rudy Gobert, 13 points, 20 rebounds. And he had 3 blocks. So, Clippers going home now for the next 2 games. Both of them are must-win games. In fact, I looked at game 2 as a must-win game. And Paul George is someone we know to crumble under pressure, and that's what happened in the first 2 games, including game 2, even though the stats may look good. Gotta watch the game to notice it. And that Utah crowd, we all know it to be on fire during playoff games, right? Also full of white dudes. I think it sucks though, the fact that they have that kind of crowd while Staples Center still has to have all those cardboard cutouts. It is what it is though, but the Clippers really need to win these next 2 games at home badly. I expect them to at least win 1 though. I don't know about both, but I'm definitely done giving the Clippers the benefit of the doubt, because whatever we do, they just fall short. It's looking like it's going to be another second round exit for them, but we'll see. Now on to the Sixers-Hawks game, which I live streamed, and I would say Joel Embiid was the player of the game once again with 27 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and 3 blocks. Although I felt like during the 4th quarter that they got to sit him down. He did have an injury scare, but it seems like he's going to be okay. And speaking of injuries, I hope Danny Green has a fast recovery. It's not looking good for him to play in game 4. And sucks that injuries happen and he had to leave the game so early after playing just 3 minutes. But hopefully this isn't too serious. But yeah, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons scored 18 points, and I believe this was a high for him in this series. Yeah, it was. He only scored 4 points in game 2, 17 in game 1 though. And the Sixers bench just absolutely came to play. They severely outplayed the Hawks bench. Fergman Korkmaz, he had a ridiculous first quarter, scoring 11 points. He finished the game with 14 points. And Dwight Howard, another guy that I'm definitely rooting for. You, Danny Green and Dwight Howard, part of last year's championship squad. Yeah, definitely going to be rooting for those guys. Have been all year, still am now. And Dwight Howard had a really good game off the bench, scoring 12 points and getting 6 rebounds. And he did shoot a 3 towards the end when it was pretty much garbage time and missed badly. And Tobias Harris, 22 points. And also, Shake Milton and Matisse Thybulle gave the Sixers some pretty decent production off the bench, I'd say. And Seth Curry, 5 of 10, 2 of 5 from 3, 12 points. So pretty much what we expected, the fact that the Sixers are just, it's their series to lose. Trae Young though, 28 points, although he was 1 of 4 from 3, but then finished 3 of 6. Those last 2 threes came when it was too little too late. He did finish the game with 28 points though. And Clint Capella held to just 8 points by Embiid. He did have 16 rebounds, but was pretty much a non-factor for them on offense. And Solomon Hill, only 1 point the whole game on 2 field goal attempts. Now, Bogdan Bogdanovic, the one that's playing for the Hawks. He played well for them, scoring 19 points, and John Collins put up 23, and Gallinari put up 17, but I feel like those were some garbage time points, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's pretty much what we expected. So 127, 111 Sixers. And then for the Suns and Nuggets. Suns are up 3-0. Imagine being told before this season that Chris Paul's best chance to win an NBA Finals or even get to the NBA Finals would come with the Phoenix Suns, right? It's crazy. And Jokic, the night he was presented with the MVP trophy, he had a really good stat line, 32 points, 20 rebounds, 10 assists. Although he was just 1 of 7 from 3. So yeah, he definitely shouldn't be settling for 3 as much, especially if those are not going in. And also, drop coverage, centers, yeah, that's just a recipe for disaster with the shooters in the NBA today. Or especially for anyone who has a mid-range game like Chris Paul. And Jokic was getting cooked in drop coverage. And Devin Booker, he definitely has some inner Kobe in him. I love it. Not saying he is Kobe, but he's showing some shades of it, honestly. And yeah, Chris Paul had 27 points, and yeah, all 5 Sun starters were in double figures. Booker had 28, 11 of 23 from the field. Only 2 of 7 from 3, but still, Booker had a ridiculous game. And DeAndre Ayton, 10 points, 15 rebounds. And I also saw during the game that Jokic is shooting under 50%. I think it was 4 of 11 when Ayton's guarding him. So you got to give Ayton his flowers on defense. And for the whole game, yeah, Jokic was 13 for 29. So definitely something that, yeah, Ayton definitely deserves his flowers for that. For the fact that Jokic has been as inefficient as he's been. And Michael Porter Jr. hasn't exactly been great in this series. In the game that I streamed, he was terrible. And Aaron Gordon has been flat out awful. So yeah, Denver Nuggets season is definitely in trouble, and they're definitely missing Jamal Murray right now. I definitely think that he would at least be able to contain Chris Paul and or Devin Booker if he were available. So yeah, I actually went on for quite a while. I'm sorry if this is just too much for you, but yeah, the reason I'm live streaming now is just the fact that I don't really have time to do such heavy editing for videos, so live streaming saves time, but just wanted to give you guys an upload, an update, you know. So that'll do it for now. Please remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.